people seem to want the more fashionable or flavoured jockeys, if that's the right word. For me, in my opinion, all jockeys are mostly the same, and I'm happy to have anyone on my horses.
Look, so getting back to what you said earlier about the lesser jockeys or
Welcome to another edition of Horses to Follow in KwaZulu-Natal, and well, I don't know where to start, to be quite frank with you. You only speak when spoken to, because you're very much in the dog box. I'll come back to you in a moment. I don't know where to start, but this man here on my left has gone on 2 weeks holiday. He's come back. I don't know. Talk to me.
What's your problem? I had a holiday.
Okay, you had a holiday, but what's happened to your face? Your wife can't be taking that well.
No, she doesn't. But what you supposed to do?
So what, did you go to the bush and you just decided to feel like you were going to get into the bush with you?
I didn't take a razor, I didn't take any scissors, and that's what happens. Yeah.
Sure, goodness gracious me. Well, it's nice to have you back, believe it or not. But you left us in the lurch for 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, you did all right.
Yeah.
I checked up on you.
Welcome back. We still love you.
I was bloody annoyed that you bloody given me bloody gears with your missus.
Absolutely. We've got to keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
Don't go away again for too long.
Okay.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome our guest into the studio, into our studio here at the Summerveld Clubhouse. We've got young rider Jason Gates who's joining us today for a conversation. We're going to find out a little bit more about him, what makes him tick. And Jason, lovely to have you here. Thank you for your time and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, sir. It's a privilege, honestly. Hopefully this can get me some exposure. Thank you for suggesting we do this.
You're definitely on the wrong show then if you want to.
No, he's on the right show. He's on the right show. Let me tell you, you were away when we had our meeting. If you could see the hits and the views and the likes and on our podcast, I tell you something. Jason Gates is on the right show. Don't you worry about that. But pleasure to have you here. And absolutely, that's what it's about. It's so that we can all learn about you and we can all hear about you. And hopefully things can go from strength to strength. But as I always ask everybody, stock standard question, because it's an important one. How did you hear about horse racing and horses? When did it enter your life?
Believe it or not, before I joined the academy, I actually didn't know what a jockey was. I didn't know anything about horse racing. But there's the guy, I was in high school at the time, in grade 8, and we used to go, my mum and I used to go every once a week after school to Spa. And the butchery, the guy that works at the butchery at the Spa, the one day he saw me in high school clothes and he said, "Jeez, you're so short, why don't you become a jockey?" And at the time I didn't even get fazed by it. I didn't even know what it was or anything, and my mum told me about it when we got in the car. I went to look it up a little bit more, and it's something I don't know, I felt like it's something I would like to do, and I told my mother that it's something I want to do, and she sent through all the stuff to the academy, and a couple of weeks later I went for all the interviews and aced all of the tests and exams and everything, and yeah, a year later I was at the academy.
So it's safe to say that, well, as you just explained it, you've come from a zero racing background, none at all.
Nothing.
So every achievement that you've achieved thus far is just by your determination and your will and wantingness. It's not a right word, is it?
Wantingness, never heard of it.
Listen, we'll send you back on holiday if you're going to carry on being cheeky like that, eh? So you, just by your will and determination to be a jockey and to succeed is how you've got this far.
Yeah, so I caught on quite quickly. I was one of the first in my year to go to the top tracks here. Although in the beginning when we had to trot the horses, I couldn't quite get the hang of trotting the horse. It's the first time I'd ever been on a horse.
You wanted to go fast.
Yeah, the riding master is Mr. Jupp. He used to tell me all the time in the show jumping arena, it just slow down. So
But that's a typical. We're going to talk about how each human being has different traits and different strengths. That's you, Jason Gates. You want to. You're a busy man. I don't know how to put it. You want to get there quickly, is what I'm trying to say.
I like to get things done quickly.
Okay.
So you mean when the blokes told you to trot, you just didn't?
He doesn't.
See, I couldn't.
Couldn't you hold it, or you just let it go?
I found it easier to act the horse, and when the horse breaks into a canter, then the trotting motion. I couldn't get the motion in the beginning of trotting up and down. Eventually, when I caught it, I just kept on going up and up.
Okay, yeah. So I understand what you're saying. Jace, where are you from? Where did you grow up? Where?
I was born in Pretoria.
Okay.
And when I was about 1 years old, we moved to Joburg, and I grew up there. Stayed there my whole life.
Whereabouts in Joburg?
In Roodepoort.
And that's why you drive so fast, because you drove past both of us, and you're quite a fast driver.
Lights, yeah.
Now, slow down. It's not Joburg. And okay, so you grew up. So then and schooling. But before you left to go, which school were you at just before the academy?
High school, Florida.
Okay, high school, Florida.
I know it well. My father went there in about 1847. But yeah,
jeez, okay.
Good school.
Yeah, it must be it must be a good school if they produced Jason and they produced you.
They didn't produce me.
Well,
they produced my
your father, who in turn produced you. So there's a compliment for you, Butchie. Your first winner. Tell us about. Of course, you can remember that. Let's relive that memory.
Yeah. So my first win was actually in Joburg for Mr. Craig Mayu. It was a horse called Samar. It was, I didn't have any places or anything before that, but I think it was my 13th ride as an apprentice, and we had Appy's races in Joburg, and I came around the turn and the horse was already off the bridle, and the Vaal straight is so long. I started pushing him from about the 900 meters already, and I don't know, we were going quite fast in the race, and he seemed to like it, and he just carried on going and going. Eventually, when I looked back, I was clear like 7 lengths.
So you buggered up the merit rating?
Yeah.
You won by too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously at that point in my career, I was still very inexperienced.
Absolutely.
And I didn't know anything yet about winning too far. It messes up the merit rating. But yeah, as I said, I was just happy to have a winner. Yeah,
absolutely. That's all. At that point in time, that was your main and obvious concern. There are a couple of trainers and the support. I was talking to a young jockey this morning, Andrew, at the track, and I won't mention who it was, just out of respect to his privacy. And he was just mentioning how tough it is to get rides, and in actual fact, Michelle Wing's doing a lovely insert on the upper echelon jockeys and how they get the 58% of the rides, and the other 60% or 49% of the lesser jockeys, if that's the right, not lesser jockeys, the non-fashionable. I don't know how to put it. The point I'm trying to make is the insert is going to be all about how the rides don't seem to be spread evenly. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, but I also think it's up to the individual jockeys to actually make an effort to put themselves out there.
Absolutely, but we're going to get Jason's opinion in a moment, and I'm getting to what I wanted to ask you in the long term. But yes. Well, what is it where, and I posed the same question to this young man this morning, and I'm posing it to us. Is it an owner perspective? Is it a trainer perspective? What is it where if a trainer phones the owner and says, "Hi, Mr. Smith, we've got," I'm just using a name, Pierre Stradum riding for you. And they say, Pierre Stradum, fantastic. Well, hi, Mr. Smith, I've got. Again, I'm going to use your name as an example because Jason's here with us. I've got Jason Gates, and what is it? Is it the owners that's putting the pressure? Is it because the point I'm making is that I'm not saying Jason's as good as Anton Marcus. What I'm saying is that, given the chance, each jockey's capable to produce the winners. Billy Jacobson did it the other day. He said it on public TV. That's the point I'm getting at, and that's what I want to get. I want his answer, and I want your answer. What do you think it is? Is it in fashion, out of fashion? Is it,
no, it's
is it individual promotion?
It's all perspective, as far as I'm concerned. You must understand that most owners don't know which end of the bloody horse kicks. They're just there. It's their horse, and they want the Anton Marcuses and the Keegan DeMellos and those
Pierce
sort of
Stradums,
and
and we talked about those.
They can only ride one horse in a race, as far as
Yes.
So, but it's also up to the trainer to say, listen, this is the bloke I want on the horse. If you don't like it, move.
Yeah, but it's tough. I hear what you're saying.
No, it's
but
hard,
tough because then
it's
the
hard.
owner says, well, if that's your attitude, then I'm taking my horse and I'm going.
That's right.
So we're going to get to Jason and find out his opinion, because I've raced in partnerships where, for me, I'm happy whoever rides my horse. If it's unfashionable,
no, but if the trainer wants
non-fashionable,
that jockey on, you put him on. I mean, the trainer knows more than
absolutely,
the owner.
Absolutely. I mean, there was a perfect example the other day with that horse Sophia Erin, who Jason knows well from home,
Yes.
but he hadn't ridden in a race. It was, it seems to gel with Musi in the race, but gels with him at home. He got the chance to ride it because Musi couldn't ride. So there's a whole lot of things that go into it. But let's hear what Jason says, because after all this long jumping around, what I'm trying to say is that there are certain trainers that have backed you and supported you. Mr. Binder comes to mind, but let's go back a step. What do you think it is where people seem to want the more fashionable or flavoured jockeys, if that's the right word? For me, in my opinion, all jockeys are mostly the same, and I'm happy to have anyone on my horses.
Look, so I getting back to what you said earlier about the lesser jockeys or
Less fashionable.
less fashionable.
Yeah,
but look, there's no way to really say it without causing some people offense,
Yes.
But the fact is that that's the truth. There are some jockeys that do better, and there are some that don't, and it's just part of racing.
Yeah,
I think that a lot of trainers are also under a lot of pressure with the owners, as you guys said, to put the guys on, because the owners come into the game with a perception that Anton is good, Samanga's good, Muzi's good. Like they're all being told from the start that those are the good jockeys, and they want those jockeys on. I feel like it's a jockey's job to present yourself in a manner that would get you more rides and promote yourself as well.
Yes.
So some guys do it well, really well, and there's other guys that struggle with it a little bit.
Sure.
So I feel like every jockey has an opportunity, if they work hard and they present themselves and promote themselves well enough, they should eventually get there.
Yes.
If no offense to him, but
no offense to anybody.
Let's use Warren Kennedy as an example. When I started off my apprenticeship, he wasn't doing as well, and 5-6 years later he won champion jockey.
Absolutely.
So eventually you get there. You just carry on working, carry on presenting and promoting yourself. And the older jockeys, Anton Marcus, isn't Pierce Stradum, they're not always gonna be in racing. Eventually they're gonna retire, and you're gonna get a real opportunity.
Moves up the ladder type thing.
Yeah, I'm sure that Anton Marcus didn't start off a superstar either. No one in the game just started off and had a whole run through in the game.
That's a damn good answer from him. I'm happy with that answer. That was brilliant.
Warren, can I say something?
No.
It's not your podcast.
First of all, I just want to say that that's a very good question.
Well, that's why I'm a very good presenter.
That's an amazing question. Can I give you an answer to that?
Yes.
I think that numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. So the amount of winners that a jockey can have sort of shows that he's a good jockey and that he put in the work. Do you know what I mean?
No.
That's what I think.
I disagree with you.
Do you think? You're telling me that a jockey that has a lot of winners is not a good jockey?
No. The thing is, a jockey can have a lot of winners, but because he's getting the best rides.
Yeah.
So
and then you get a jockey that doesn't get good enough rides, and
So
the stats are completely
Yeah, it
wrong.
all depends on which trainers you're with. I mean, I'm talking about Kuller Jacobs.
yeah,
He's a good jockey.
Yeah, he's
a
a
good
good
apprentice. But he's quiet. He doesn't make a noise. He's a hell of a nice bloke. But he doesn't promote himself. He doesn't push himself. But give him the chance, and he's just as good as anybody else.
That,
But when he rides, well,
that is the point I'm trying. Coming back to your question, that is the point I'm making. Is that you just said he's as good as anybody else, and I agree with that statement. And it's not a case of you say, yeah, you're right. We're being polite and saying nobody want to offend anybody. We're just using examples and we're talking about a lovely conversation. But yes, I mean, Frank Robinson. They interviewed Frank Robinson and Billy Jacobson. Billy Jacobson doesn't get the rides, but Billy Jacobson, when he gets given a ride that's got a chance, and you know, he can produce. I forget the name of the horseman. Frank's horse won down there. Leslie's Spark to Fame. Beautiful race, beautiful ride. He's as good as any.
Yeah.
Atandiwa Magudwa. You know, I've heard Anton at the track say, "This is a likeable young rider. He can ride. You know, give him the chance."
Tony's a good rider. I mean, he outrode Warren on yesterday.
But your question, I hear what you're saying. Yes, is it's maybe to say it's easy for a average jockey to keep winning if he gets given the best horse. Is that how you say?
Yes.
You know, you can give again just using names: Anton Marcus, Piers Stradum, the old Carl Nisius, all those top riders. You can give them horses with a merit rating of 40. They'll still run last, or run.
Yeah, but
maybe you'll get it 5 lengths closer.
You know what Lester Piggott says? His famous quote is, he said you can. I've gone blank now, but he was saying that you know, you can give a jockey bad instructions, and you know, a good jockey doesn't need instructions.
Yeah, absolutely.
A good jockey will get a bad horse home.
Yes.
Well,
Same as
he will get a bad horse home in spite of what's going on, because you'll be technically aware of what horses are in the race, and he can play that to his advantage.
Yes.
So he's maybe not the best horse in the race, but it's the best jockey. So he's using his head, he's done his homework, and that's the way it operates. And you get other blokes that just jump on the horse and say, well, just got no chance, and then you go ding, 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 down the start, back again, claim their grand, and say, well, sorry, the trainer's not good enough. You know.
I think that some jockeys are more talented than others, and some jockeys work harder than others, and that is a consequence of sort of the way they are. You know what I mean? The fact that they work as hard as they work, and they talented as well. I think that combination, you know what I mean, is what sort of manifests in them. When you ride good and you do good at home, then you're going to get the rides. That's what I think. If you're a good jockey, eventually your hard work is going to pay off. That's what I think. I think the harder you work, the more people notice. The numbers don't lie. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's
simple.
I
If
know
you
a lot
don't
of,
work hard, you're not going to get the rides.
I know a lot of good jockeys are just bloody lazy.
That's the thing, right? It's the thing. It's hard work. Like, there's a lot of apprentices at the academy that don't work hard. You understand? And then you get a jockey like Rachel who works her behind off every day in the gym, works, and she's getting the rides. She works hard. That's why she's so good. That's what I think.
Look, he's got a good point. He's got a fair point. But it's the same as anything in life, you know. You can be anything. You can be a good lawyer, a moderate lawyer, a good attorney, a lazy attorney. You can be a crappy journalist. You can write good stories. You're a great story writer. So is David Thistleton. I'm a shocking story writer. You know, so you get more hits than me. So yes, you've got to work hard. You've got to put it. But I've also seen guys and girls over the past work themselves to the bone and not get the support.
Yeah, but see, that's where that's where the promotion part comes in.
Yes.
You see, as I said, some people get it better than others, you know, and I feel like yes, you're 100% right. There are some jockeys out there that work their butts off, but you know, they're not promoting themselves in the right way. Like you said, Ola Jacobs, he works hard, he grinds, but he's a quiet oak. He doesn't talk a lot.
Yes,
you know, and you need to, excuse me, like have a bit of a mouth, you know, to be
you've got to
a little bit more aggressive, you know, and
be
heard, exactly. And I feel like there's plenty of jockeys out there that ride very well and they work hard as well on top of it, but they're not getting the chances because they're not promoting themselves in the right way.
100%. There's no right and wrong answer. It was a wonderful little diversion, a 5-minute diversion.
It's all a personal thing. So,
absolutely, and don't for 1 minute suggest that I'm saying that there's good jockeys, bad jockeys. It's all about it's just it's I don't know what it is that there just seems to be a big gap. And for me as an owner, my parting shot on this point is I've had horses ridden and won, and I know it's not about me, by wonderful jockeys, top echelon, middle echelon, and I just think anyone given the chance they can perform. Same with the trainer.
Yeah, but in the end, it's up to the trainer to who he puts on his horse.
After all that wonderful debate, let's talk about Mr. Binder and any others that you would want to talk about who have actually clicked with you and gelled with you and supported you. But Mr. Binder, you get on well.
So there's been so many trainers that I rode for a while, and you know how the game is. You get hired, you get fired, ups and downs. One door opens, another closes, and some of the trainers that have supported. I rode for Mr. Goosen for a while. Did very well for him. Used to have a double every meeting. The stable turned a little bit after that, and. As I said, you just gotta keep going and carry on. There was a time I think I rode 9 horses for Mr. Binder, and all 9 of them won. So we had like 100% strike rate with 9 winners. So Mr. Puller has been helping me out quite a lot lately. Mr. Hals has been helping. Mr. Donation has stopped training now, but I had a whole few winners for him as well. Mr. Wright and Mrs. Wright, they also helped me. I've ridden a few winners for them also. Yeah, it's just there's no one specific trainer to look at in a scenario like this. There's a lot of trainers I've ridden for, and a lot of trainers I've had winners for. I mean, you get Barbara and Wayne. I've ridden winners for them. Retail Therapy, I've won twice on and I, so yeah, it's about getting the support, I suppose at the right time, when the stable is right.
It's the same thing that Tinny Prinsley said yesterday or the day before in his interview. There's a man too, a wonderful article on him in the Sporting Post, and he also too said, you give him the horse, he can deliver the goods.
Yeah, I know. Most trainers can do that. I mean,
absolutely.
But also as a jockey, you can't have a thin ego. If you got to take the criticism as it is and just get over it.
People don't realise that we don't want to make it doom and gloom, but it's a hard industry. It's a hard game. It's a lovely game. We live for it. We die for it. We're sick for it every day and night. We love racing. But people need to realise that behind the scenes it's tough. You've got jockeys trying to this, owners, that, vets, so everyone trying to work hard, trying to win. It's a tough game, but as you say, with that attitude of keeping on, persevering, plugging away, you have to take the highs and the lows. Talking of highs and lows, you were just telling us off air there's maybe a bit of a sponsor on board or a sponsor in the lineup.
Sorry.
No, that's no problem. You don't need to tell us who it is if it's private, but...
so I think for now I'll just keep it in the mix for a little bit. But I do have a new sponsor. One of the owners, I might be riding a few of his horses.
Okay, fantastic.
Very nice guy. The reason I won't mention him is because I'm not 100% sure if he would be comfortable with that yet.
That's the right thing to do.
But as soon as things are in order, eventually with racing, everything gets out eventually.
No secrets in racing.
Yeah, so hopefully things go well on that side, and I'll end up with a nice new sponsor.
Jason, how long have you been out of your time? You've been qualified.
This is my first year out of my
first year out. And is your home, Jason's home, in Summerveld area? Where do you live?
No, so it's in Maritzburg.
Maritzburg.
Sleepy Hollow.
Okay, so all
the dirt bin of KZN.
All the good boys. I would move to Maritzburg tomorrow if I could. My wife keeps telling me I'm delusional.
Please stay away.
I would move to Maritzburg tomorrow if I could. Okay, so you do a bit of travelling. And then obviously, while we're talking about Maritzburg, let's touch on your family, and let's touch on your family first, and then we'll touch on Della.
So I've got 8 brothers at home.
Okay. 8 brothers.
Yeah, and one baby sister. Not all of them are from my mum. You see, my aunt passed away, and my mum adopted 3 children. Also, the one stays with his dad mostly, but the 2 babies were only nearly a year when their mother passed away.
Shame.
So yeah, I've got 2 stepbrothers, and we've got 2 sets of twins in the family.
Okay, sure.
The 2 babies are twins, and I've got 2 older. Those are my full brothers.
Okay.
They're also twins. And yeah, I've got a little baby sister. She's the apple of my eye. Because it's the only sister in the family.
Okay.
Yeah, when my younger brother Nathan was born, I actually was hoping it's a girl, and when he was born, I was a little bit upset. But I was
don't tell Nathan that.
I was only 6 years old at the time, so they put the gel on there, the blue gel, and I kept on telling my mum they put the blue gel and not the pink gel. That's why it was a boy. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. So, and you all get on well. I mean, you're all good friends, and everyone, yeah. No.
Yeah. So obviously, if big family, with big family comes big fights. We at each other a lot of the times, but you know what? We all love each other, and when me moving away from home at such an early age, when I go there, we all get along like peas in a pod.
Jason, let's talk about a lady you've, anyone who follows you on social media and just knows you and knows your girlfriend, Della. She is firmly part of the racing industry. She's done her course through the horse management course at Summerveld, at East Summerhill. She's worked for trainers. She's now currently working for Duncan Howells. Tell us a bit more. How did you meet, and how's it going with Della? And be very careful of what you say. This is the part where I always say to the guys and girls that are here, be careful how you talk about your partners.
Yeah, so look, her father owned the same horse I fell off of the other day at races, Farland for Mr. Campbell. And 2 years ago, before the day I rode him the other day, I won on him, and her father owned the horse. After that, we were talking a little bit on Instagram, and she started working for Mr. Goosen. I was riding for Mr. Goosen all the time that time, and yeah, we just eventually after work we'd meet up and have a little lunch, at the clubhouse, and yeah, things just kept on spiraling from there onwards.
Okay.
Yeah. And
well, I asked Ella this morning what questions I should ask you.
Don't put her into trouble now.
Didn't she? Said
no, it's fine.
She said say
under
nothing.
pressure.
No, she said ask Jason one question and he'll do the rest.
No, put me under pressure. I know what to say.
And okay, so and she loves the horses as much as you do. Obviously, she's an assistant trainer, and she's doing well for herself. She's got herself a nice job, and she's ticking over.
Yes, she qualified as a top student at Summerhill. She really knows how a horse works, and she's a proper, I don't know how to phrase it, a horsewoman.
Horsewoman, yes.
Yes, she gets on very well with the horses. She knows a lot about the horses, after doing all the courses and stuff, the breeding side of horses as well. She can, if you ask her about any horse, how it's bred or who its sire or dam was, she'll go back into the past and tell you even the sire and dam's mother and father.
Okay.
Well, one good thing about Della, she's had a good influence on Duncan because he doesn't lose his temper.
You say that, and it's so true. It's amazing how life works up and how pairings work up. I mean, his previous assistant was unconscious. Jimmy the Rich from Hollywood, a dear friend of ours, And that's him. I tell him to his face. He's just the most chilled, calm, relaxed, go with the flow kind of guy. And Duncan's a fiery character, so they got on well. And Della's very much the same. Chilled, goes with the flow, doesn't let anything faze her. And yeah, she's had a good influence on our red-headed friend.
Yeah.
She really has. And they get on well together.
You guys think she's calm?
Well,
You're learning.
And you see, of course, Della at the track every morning at Ashburton, and firmly part of the Ashburton team.
She's bloody good at picking out 4-leaf clovers. Jeez.
She's a lucky girl, you see.
She is a lucky girl.
Yeah. Whenever she's at the races, I get excited because she brings more luck. Okay, and how long have you guys been going out now? Must be a couple of years,
It's about 3 years now, so
okay,
going on to our 4th.
Okay, wonderful.
But she's also, as you say, she's had a calming effect on Mr. Hals, and I think the same with me. I don't know if you guys, you probably do know.
Yes,
I was a bit of a hothead when I was
we're getting there.
when I was a bit younger. I was a bit of a hothead. And I don't know, since I met Della, I've also seemed to calm down. I don't know what it is she does, but...
Well, let's actually talk about that, because believe it or not, and as so many people say, the show is not about you or me, but I disagree with it. The show is about us. It's about our guest, but at the end of the day, we're having a three-way conversation. And you talk about that, and one of my points was, and you're a young man, so I'll tell it to you as it is, and how I'm very impulsive. You know, if you say
especially when it comes to spending money,
if you say to me, again, we're just using examples. We'll use us, not to offend you. If you say to me, "Oh, I bumped into Jason, and Jason says that you did something wrong on TV," I'll say, "What? Give me Jason on the phone. Come on, I want to sort him out." I'm very impulsive. You know, instead of just taking a deep breath and just going slowly. And that's my fault, and I'm trying to get that right. What you've just mentioned it. Yes, in your younger, a bit more immature days, maybe you were maybe hothead and quick to say this and quick to maybe say that and whatever it is. But yes, and people do change. People learn. I'm trying to change. I'm trying to learn. You're too old to change and learn. You've finished. Duncan's learning to become a bit more mellow, and you are also learning to go with the flow, be a bit calmer. And that, Della, tell us about that, because you were a hothead, and as time goes on, you can just see by your whole attitude and your whole outlook, it's better.
Yeah, so I was just, as a arrogant young kid, and I'm not ashamed to admit it either, because it's a lot of people at my age at that time, they are like that. You get but somewhere along the line, so you get a wake up call.
Yes.
How many times did you get beaten up in the jockey room for knocking half the field over?
I had my fair share. But yeah, so look, as I say, so growing up a little bit, obviously after I stopped traveling to Joburg, and I had to rebase myself back in Durban and say, I want to do well here first before I look to
yes.
expand and stuff, because I'm going to be staying in Durban, so I have to do well. Yeah, if things don't go well, I have nothing to fall back on.
Yeah, and also correct.
After that, I came back to Durban. I had to work really hard, and I hit a bit of a knock, so I think that was my wake up call.
Yeah, well, you're big enough to actually realize that.
Things were not going well, even though I was riding work the whole time and trying my best. The rides just weren't coming. I obviously out the academy I had some bills to pay, and I think life grabbed me and gave me a little bit of a shake.
Okay.
And I suppose after that, I eventually just said to myself, you know what, just put your head down, carry on working. At one point I was actually thinking about moving to Joburg, but I said that's not an option. If I go to Joburg and things don't work out there, then I wasted my time.
Yeah, correct.
I can't come back to Durban again, and jumping around like that, it's worse than just staying in one place and trying.
Grinding it out.
Well,
And
Jason,
things have been
that's-
going a bit better now, so I suppose, I made the right decision.
You certainly did, and as Andrew says, it's big of you and it's man of you to actually, anybody, male, female, human, old, young, you've got to admit to your mistakes, you've got to admit to your faults, and you've got to fix our. We've all got faults. We all. That's why I keep saying everyone must try and give each other a bit of slack and be nice to one another, because we've all got faults, we've all got challenges.
I've got no faults.
Don't get me started. Don't get the production team.
Just
all
don't
laughing.
tell my wife that.
Yeah, can we get your wife on here next week?
No.
Yeah. Okay, Jace. Well, that's a lovely story, and but also too, at the end of the day, everyone, every human being is different. Everyone's fighting their own little challenge. You might be grumpy by nature, but you're a good oak. You might have a bit of a big mouth, but at the end of the day, you're a good oak. I might be a OCD bloody germ freak, but at the end of the day,
But you're not a good oak.
You would sound a good oak. So everybody just got to, and you're right. If you manage your situation, Jason Gates will always be the guy that's heard and the guy that has an opinion. But if you manage that situation like you are doing, if I manage my situation and not to be so impulsive, it will get better.
Yeah, so you don't always have to be heard. That's the thing. I was talking, just talking my mouth off, and sometimes it's better just to say nothing. It's better to let things go. I went to sit with Mr. Puller in his office, and I was sitting there with him for about 2 hours. We had a long conversation, and I told him everything from the start of my career until now about my racing career. And after that, he had a bit of a heart-to-heart with me, and he I would like to say Mr. Puller set me on the right path a little bit as well. Gave me very good advice. I've been working for him a lot in the mornings. He's taught me more about racing, things I would have never thought about myself. So yeah, it's just about, as you say, maintaining it. And
maintain it.
Of course, there are times that you have to be heard and speak your mind, but you don't always have to be the fire in the room.
Yeah. You were going to say something?
No, I was saying as life goes on, you have your breaks, and you've fallen in with Garth. You could never be a mentor.
No, he's world class, Garth. Yeah, but also too, yesterday, Anton got stood down and he replaced Anton with you. I mean, that's a compliment, and as I said to him on TV, I spoke about it, and he said, you put in the work and etc. etc. But yeah, it's really great to see Jason.
Jason, I want to ask you: do you still play the piano?
Yes, I do.
Well spotted. You remember that, eh? Tell us about that.
No lessons. I remember Mrs. Carlisle, Mary Carlisle, was saying she heard the piano going in the academy, and she said she saw you
funny story
play.
actually. I was just playing and enjoying myself, and they walked in, and I was having a ball there, and the next moment I turned around and they're standing looking at me. I got the shock of my life.
But you've seen. I know you're not big on social media, but I follow Jason on Instagram and Facebook. And lovely, he said some lovely videos of him playing the piano. You're quite right, very good.
And you learned by ear?
Yeah, so I started in preschool. We used to sing before we went to class in the mornings, and the teacher would play on the piano. And the one day after everyone left, the same song that we were singing, I mimicked it on the piano, and the teacher was like, wow. Obviously after that she planted something in my head about it, and my mum bought me a little keyboard, and I played it. Every time we had assembly at school, I would go and play at assembly, and yeah.
So if your career as a jockey disappears, you become a concert pianist.
Yeah, so I can listen to any song you play to me basically, and some songs might take a little bit of a while, but any song I hear, I could mimic it exactly the same way on the piano.
That's a talent.
That is a talent, yeah, absolutely. Jace, your weight, any issues there?
Not anymore, sir. It was Mr. Puller was complaining that I was a little bit too light.
A little bit too light? Okay, God, I wish I had that problem. I'm going to the gym sweating 3 times a week to try and get light.
Yeah, so I was weighing 48.45, and Mr. Puller said that it's too much dead weight on the horses. So I've been pumping up with the protein shakes and pumping the weights at home. And yeah, eventually I've gotten my weight up to about 50 and a half now, close to 51.
Okay, so that's
And now I can maintain it there and just...
okay. So you can chow what you want to chow, and I mean obviously you can't pig
Yeah,
out,
so
but I mean you're
I-
okay. You don't have to.
Look, so I don't have a big appetite I don't feel for eating most of the time, but when I do get hungry and I feel like eating, I can eat a very big meal for myself.
And
So you and Gamedi can have a hamburger eating competition.
Oh, does Tubbs enjoy a good burger?
Tubbs enjoys the burger.
But I was having a look on your social media, there's been times I've spotted you in the kitchen, you and Della cooking up a storm, and yeah, so you enjoy that, you enjoy a bit of cooking. Because the next question is, any hobbies?
So sometimes I go and play golf.
So don't say
my
golf.
Golf, I play golf with my soon-to-be father-in-law,
Okay.
hopefully. And yeah, I'm interested in a lot of things. Cooking, I used to enjoy it more when I was a bit younger, but when I get back from work, and the long day, sorting out all of the stuff at home, by the time everything's done, I don't feel for still making food. So
Sure.
Dalla cooks and I eat.
Wonderful setup. Let's talk about, we're talking about family and Della and important people in your life, and Garth and the people that have crossed your path. You've built up quite a special relationship with Joe DeMata. I never know if it's Joe DeMata or Joe DeMata, but Mr. DeMata, who's a good friend of many, myself included. Tell us about that relationship.
It was during my third year at the academy. I was riding winner after winner, and towards the end of the year, I think, I just started doing badly, for like 3 months I didn't have a winner, I was a bit down in the dumps, and Joe was at races, and I used to ride for him when he had horses with Mr. Gwisse. And I went up to him, he said, "How's it, boy?" And I said to him, it's good, sir, how are you doing? Nice to see you. And he said, "How's things at the academy?" And I said to him, I'm having a bit of a hard time. And I asked him there, and he said that he'll sponsor me. And yeah, from there on, he's become more than a sponsor, really. He's like a father to me, honestly. Mentor. If I've ever had a problem, he's been there to stand in, He's been a big part of my life, and I could probably say that if it wasn't for Mr. DeMata, I probably wouldn't have been in racing this long,
Sure.
Because I promise you, people don't realize the mental part of being a jockey either, So there were times that I come back from races and I'm so upset. You ride a good race, and one of the trainers, whoever you're riding for, says, that was a terrible ride, you rode like shit, excuse me.
That's okay, it's okay.
And yeah, so...
A producer likes that, he wants that, you're naughty.
Yeah, so after that, there would be times I come back to the academy and I'm just in a bad space, and I said to myself, I don't want to be a jockey anymore. It's not worth it, And then I phoned Joe, and Joe speaks to me, and he says, "No, boy, just let me tell you a story." He tells me a bit of a backstory, something that happened in his past. He's been in racing for a very long time.
Well, learned man, is Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, he's, and after he talks to me, I just feel complete, like complete again.
That's what this thing. Let's get cordless ones that we're banging.
It's his fault.
Now, that's the point, Bushy, that I was trying to make earlier. Is that he comes home from it like all of us. A doctor, a nurse, or whatever you are. You have a bad day at work. But people think, well, Yeah, they come home after a crappy day at the races, and as you said, plays on your mind. You get down in the dumps, and you think, "Shit, I don't want to do this anymore."
You know, like yesterday when I had to do the bloody race preview and the race card and everything
you
else.
want to go away for 2 weeks.
Yeah. I also
You're lucky there's no race card today
down in
because
the
you'll be
dumps.
doing a lot. So yeah, you get, and you're right, Jason. And people just don't realize. Trainers get it too. Owners get it too. Breeders get it too. You know, trainer after he goes, he's got 9 runners. He goes to the races. He thinks he can have 2 winners. All 9 of the runners run second to last and last. You get home, you're looking at the nearest piece of rope you can find. You know, people don't understand that.
That's why I don't keep rope in my house.
It's not all just glitz and glamour.
Yeah.
So that was well said and well pointed out.
The question I have for you, Jason, is, you know, being an athlete, being mentally tough is a big requirement. You know what I mean? You need to be mentally fit, just as you need to be physically fit. You know, I've spoken with a lot of jockeys who told me about that they used to have mental health problems. You know, in the past. How do you deal with like mental blocks and how do you keep your mental sort of state of mind healthy?
You know what? I had a very difficult time dealing with it earlier in my career, but I suppose as you go along, you just learn more and more about how to handle it better. I mean, if you take as an example, all right, when I fell off of that horse fall and at the races, I was still in hospital and there were stories going around. I jumped off the horse. And the stops showed the video, and you can see clearly on the video my saddle slipped. It was my foot was on the horse's chest in front. But yeah, at the angle that the video showed, it looked like I might have jumped off. I was still in hospital at that time when I heard all of these stories. So for me, that was probably the worst time out of it, because I felt very disgusted that there were people out there that were before they even know if I'm gonna survive
or okay or not too injured.
They're spreading stories around saying I jumped off a horse.
You got to be a bit of a nutter to jump off a horse in a race.
You've got to be very and
carry on. I'll tell you about the car. Yeah. And
may rest in peace, Naresh Jagla. I think that a month before I fell or something, he passed away, and he was sitting in the exact same position I was. So I mean, it's ridiculous that people care, but it's racing, and everyone wants to have something to say in racing.
Correct.
And you know what? As to get back to what you were saying, I went to sit and think to myself, okay, and again Joe was there for me, saying don't worry about it. And he mentioned something to me that it was a very good tool to use to, sort of just let it go. In racing, nothing really stays for too long. No stories stay and linger for too long because there's always stories, new stories that keep coming. So people eventually forget. I mean, there was the jockeys that protested the other day, all right? And that was a big scene. Everyone was on Sporting Post. It was all over internationally seen. And who's talking about it today?
No one. Forgotten.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The day I fell, I mean, everyone was making a fuss out of it on the day, maybe a week later. But who's talking about it now? It's
a good point.
Racing. You just got to know that eventually everything will pass. And
people have got short memories, like a jockey who's out of action for a couple of months. People actually forget that he's not there.
Exactly.
Okay, do me a favor. When we go just now, I'm gonna drive the car. I want you to sit in the back seat behind the passenger side. I want you to sit in the back seat behind the driver's side. I'm going to drive down this long road here at Summerfeld at about 70, 80 kilometers, and I want you both to open the door and bail out the car. Would you do that?
Let's drive a bit faster though.
Would you do that? It's the same analogy as a horse. Because when you're on a horse going at a fast speed, you don't look to jump off.
No.
You fall off. You don't jump off. Anyway. Let's talk about your work schedule. How's your plans? I mean, I know it changes where you get the rides, but generally, do you want to tell us how you are you 2 days at Summerfeld, 3 at Ashburton, or vice versa?
Look, so I try and go to Ashburton twice a week. I try and go on the pacework days on Tuesday or Saturday,
Okay.
sometimes Thursdays, but it's all depending on which trainers need me on which day, you know. Obviously, I'm riding a bit more for Mr. Puller now, so he takes preference for me, you know, at the moment, because he's giving me so many rides and all. If I ask him, Mr. Puller, do you need me on Tuesday? And he says, yes, I can't go to Ashburton that same day.
Sure.
If I ask him on Saturday, can I go Saturday? And he says, okay, no, it's fine, then I go on Saturday. There's no set schedule at the moment for when I'm at work, for which trainer I go to specifically. Obviously, Mr. Puller, I ride all of his strings, and when I'm done, I just move around to go wherever I can. So, I mean, today I rode for Mr. Dixon, I rode for Wayne and Barbara, I rode for Mr. Dreyer, I rode for Mr. Wright, Mr. Hill. So, you know, it's just busy the whole morning running around, you know.
Do you have, I'm going to ask you this question too, do you have a favorite food and a favorite drink? And if you enjoy an alcoholic beverage, don't be shy if you enjoy a glass of wine or a beer, but do you have a favorite food and do you have a favorite drink, alcoholic and non-alcoholic?
So I quite fancy pasta.
Okay. You enjoy a good pasta.
Yeah, pasta is my especially like a mac and cheese, you know.
Okay, good old traditional
little
pasta.
bacon bits in there.
Okay.
Yeah, my mum used to make it for me all the time at home. It's one of my favorites.
Good old mac and cheese. You know, a lot of people with mac and cheese. You talk about the bacon bits, you've got to have the bacon bits. And you can pour in some mushrooms too. A lot of people just
didn't help him, he still rides at 48.
And because people just have traditional, just the mac and cheese, the cheese white sauce. No bacon, you've got to have bacon bits.
But now you get those Woolworths ones where they put the little bacon bits in
yeah.
I cook your own. Man.
And Jace, a drink, do you enjoy a coffee or a beer or what do you enjoy having?
I'm not really fussy with things to drink. If I'm thirsty, I drink something. But I suppose if we're looking at alcoholic drinks, I don't drink a lot, you know. Sometimes when I'm off, you know, and I'll have a little whiskey.
Okay.
You know, I like a monkey shoulders.
Okay.
Tickles my fancy. But as I said, it's not. I've never been one, you know, so to drink too much, you know, and to a point where I can't wake up in the morning and wake up with a massive hangover.
Gone are those days for me. I've had a few of those. Gone are those days. I know you enjoy an ice cold beer.
You'll
How did you know?
You'll very rarely see me having a hangover or being a bit lethargic because of alcohol. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, I tell you. Yeah, it's. I laughed because I sound like a damn alcoholic because, like you, I'm not a big drinker. And when I say my wife and I at home will have a glass of wine with our meal. I drink something every night, but like it's normally one of something, a gin and tonic or ice cold beer in the summer. But generally most nights. And somebody said to me, "What drink do you enjoy?" And it's a terrible thing. Whatever. I mean, I'll have a glass of wine. I'll have a rum and coke. I'll have a whiskey and soda. I'll have a gin and tonic. I'll have a glass of champagne. It sounds terrible, but I'm not an alcoholic, I promise, but I do enjoy all types of drinks. Even bring me a little shooter, I'll have it. You? Beer only?
Beer only.
Beer only.
Whiskey,
look,
the hard stuff is like cool drink to me.
No, look, if you, I mean, I quite enjoy wine as well, red wine.
Okay.
You see like a Rupert and Rothschild, but
Only the best.
Only the best Rupert and Rothschild.
Mostly just the expensive ones. I don't like to drink the cheap wines that taste like
vinegar.
juice, you know.
Juice and vinegar. Yeah, well said. If you're going to drink wine, you do it properly. Quite right. Favorite holiday destination, and we're coming to the end of our discussion. It's been wonderful. Favorite holiday destination that maybe you've been to or that you'd like to go to?
I would like to visit Sydney in Australia. But I haven't been there yet. Hopefully,
you don't want to go to Australia?
No, I do.
No, you don't.
Why?
It's full of Australians.
Stop it now.
I've been there.
Behave yourselves.
No, alright. So if we're looking at places that I have been to, you know what? All the places in South Africa are wonderful and that, but I think the place that I enjoyed the most when I went on holiday there was in Cape Town, at the waterfront, and you know, the nice weather. The sun sets late. It feels like it's still 8 o'clock at night. The sun is still up. You know, long days.
Yeah. The Cape is something very, very special. Jason, I was going to ask you. We've had such a positive and wonderful chat and a debate. I was going to ask you about your pet hates and your irritations, but I'm not going to do that anymore because we're going to stay positive. We're going to stay happy. All that's left for me to do is to, and Andrew as well, is just to wish you well. It's been the most wonderful 45 minutes and to learn more about you, and well done to you. Just keep up the good work, keep up the positive attitude, and we look forward to supporting you and watching you in racing. I thoroughly enjoy interviewing you whenever you have a winner, and just well done. We're very proud of you.
Yeah, Jason, you just keep it going because you can ride.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
That's also too. You've got to be able to ride. You've got to have some ability. It's like a racehorse. You've got to be able to run.
He's got plenty of ability. Now that the clock is actually ticked over in his head, he'll get
Mr.
better.
Bender always says the wheels the hamster's dead, but the wheel keeps turning. something like that.
Something along those lines. But thank you. We're going to talk about ourselves. If you want to get up just now and leave, you're most welcome. If you want to sit with us, you're also most welcome. But we're going to continue with the second half of the podcast. So feel free to leave. Tawanda will help you out. But thank you for your time. And really, we wish you and Della and your family all the very best. Keep going.
Thank you, sir. I would love to stay, but unfortunately, I got some things at home to go sort out.
Off you go. We'll see you in the number one box soon in the next couple of days, Jason. Lovely. Andy?
You will.
Well, there's a youngster who we've learned a lot more about, and he's you're right, because we all were the same when we were young, know it all, and this and that.
You've got to have a jockey who's got to have a bit of an attitude.
You have to, yeah.
And unfortunately, I think Jason got off on the wrong foot when he was a lot younger. He admitted it.
Yes.
He was full of himself, and I think he's starting to learn that he's not number one.
And he speaks very well.
He speaks well. He's an intelligent boy.
Now, let's talk about news. Let's talk about a bit of news. First of all, how was your holiday, man? Talk to me about the Kruger. 2 weeks, and I'm only pulling the PP out of you. But still, you can't take 2 weeks. It's just too much unless you take me with you.
Well, you can come anytime.
How was it? Lovely. What was the weather like?
Great. Well, the first 3 days was 44. It was a little bit warm. Then it rained.
Okay, so you had a bit of everything.
A bit of everything.
And animals, birds, top class?
Top class. I saw my first marsh owl,
okay,
which was probably the highlight. And the second highlight was...
Stupid question. Sorry, just stupid question. At night or during the day?
No, during the day. It was in the afternoon or just after the rain. It was
okay.
Sitting there. I've got a nice picture. I'll send it to you.
Please do. I enjoy birding. And your second highlight?
Second highlight was being chased by an elephant.
Oh, gosh.
Reversing for 3 Ks flat out.
Goodness gracious me.
Maybe I'll send it to you. I'll send you the video. You can use the first little bit of clip there.
Well, there must have been lots of profanities in there because I know.
It was really quiet. Luckily, Rory, my son's girlfriend, had her little muck and drick out the window, so you couldn't hear all the swearing.
But your daughter is a game ranger. We've spoken about that. She's a qualifying or qualified.
No, she's qualified. She's working at Ndoro. I think that she's just recently, last week, she got a posting at Pinda.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay,
so she's over there. She's relocating to Pinda in January.
She's pleased as punch.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
News, I'm just trying to think at the top of my head. This weekend, starting from tomorrow, Friday, the Algoa Cup. Saturday in Cape Town, the ready-to-run race. Joburg, the charity mile, and a host of feature races. Sunday, the Model Man Mile, a host of races. Features throughout the weekend. I'm not moving out of my man cave at home. I'm watching racing all weekend.
Lucky, but you're lucky. The two of you can enjoy the racing. I've got to wrestle the TV away.
Actually, my wife is going to Joburg. She's going to the charity mile, so I'll have the TV all to my own. But you're right, she does like racing. And news, sales coming up. There's a sale on Sunday in Cape Town. There's a sale on the 20th of November, the Bloodstock South Africa sale. That's coming up as well. But I don't think there's too much really in the news department.
Yeah, well, I haven't been here, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay, let's talk horses and let's have a look. We're racing on Sunday, the 31st of October 2021 at Hollywood Bets, Greyville. We're on the turf, of course. And a race meeting where it looks like there are one or two standouts. For me, I know we don't go through the whole card, but in the first race, I quite like that horse of Peter Muscat's Tuk or Tuck Tuck, whichever way you want to pronounce it. The second race, Anton Marcus rides Sky Glitter, who looks to be well suited to the extra distance. The Pinnacle Stakes in the fifth race, wow, that's going to produce a hell of a finish. The seventh race, that Model Man Mile listed, really competitive. But after all is said and done, the two horses that I'm suggesting to our friends and followers is probably Tuk Tuk and Sky Glitter as a possible double. But it looks tough.
Yeah, it's not an easy card actually, because the harder you look at it, the more open it becomes. But I'm prepared to give Shavut another chance. I think MJ's put blinkers on.
Okay.
And I think that might be the key to his.
He's got ability, this horse. You're right. The blinkers could be the winning scoop, the master stroke.
Yeah. The Pinnacle Stakes, I think, is quite tricky because Ultra Magnus and what was the other one? I can't remember. Two of them. The thing of Duncan's.
Spider's Corner.
No. Spider's Corner and what's it called?
We'll get the name. Yeah, we've got the book.
It's first run from.
Yes. Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant. Yeah.
Okay. So
they'll probably need the run. And Pearl of Asia's drawn 10, so you sort of worry about that.
Yeah.
And I think Model Man Mile, I think it's between Quasi for sure and Proud Master. I think those are two good colts.
Well, there's a couple of horses for you to keep an eye out for and throw into your bets for this coming weekend. Plenty racing action. Friday, Saturday and Sunday, 3 days of racing. I can't wait. Cannot wait. I just hope that I catch a few winning bets along the way. None of us None of us have got unlimited cash. We've only got a limited budget for our punting. But lovely to have you back, you old goat. My good friend. Now, let's be brave and bold. How long are you going to keep that scruff on your face?
No, I think I might have to go for a dig in the grave tomorrow and the hard copper.
It actually... It does suit you in a way, but it is quite rough, I must say, because
it's getting there. It's only had 2 weeks.
What do your children say?
Keep quiet.
It's been wonderful. It's been absolutely wonderful. As we always appeal to you, please, we want to engage with you. Please feel free to comment on our page. We're launching our new name, our new podcast, and we're not going to share what our new name is, what we've been decided at. So next week we're going with our new name. We thank everybody for their contribution. I had people at the races bump into me and say that what about this name, what about that name, and really wonderful to engage with our supporters. So please comment, like our page, subscribe onto our YouTube channel. Hit all those buttons for us. Hit all those buttons. You know how to do that?
No.
Ask your wife to do it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the follow button, hit the share button, and let's just all spread the love.
Tawanda wants to say something.
Yeah. Drop a comment and tell us what you think of Jason Gates' story and what you fancy for this upcoming weekend's racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite right. Let's hear what Jason had a wonderful story to tell. I was really intrigued. He came here humble today.
No.
And I was impressed. Well done, Jason. I really was impressed. So share your thoughts on that story and the motivation and how, what do you do when you're feeling down in the dumps? And he did use one swear word, but that's okay. I mean, we all use the S word.
No, it's a sweet adult show.
It's an adult show. I use the S word, sweet. But comment on Jason's story. Comment on anything.
I want to comment on Tawanda's story.
Yes, talk to me now.
Your show that you've started up now. What's it? Off the Rails.
Yes.
How did you get off the rails?
From you.
No, it can't be.
Yes.
Because any jockey who comes off the rails and lets some bastard go through on his inside, the trainer will shoot him.
So you're lodging an objection to the name?
I'm lodging an objection.
Okay. And also that name, you told me about the show from New Zealand.
It was on the rails.
It was on the rails.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, he's smart. Well, what a coincidence.
What a coincidence. We'll have to take you to the staff boardroom for an objection. So we might be coming back with our two podcasts, the one that Tawanda does and the one that I do, with both might be having new names. But be that as it may, we're out of time. We're out of time. It's been absolutely great. I'm happy to have my good mate. I'll tell you something. I'm going to make sure when you retire, you're due for retirement. You're not retiring from the podcast. I'm telling you that. We're going to see you in the number one box as always. Please be safe. Love one another. Punt well. And comment, share, like and subscribe as much as you can. And let's all get ready for a top quality weekend. Racing galore. From Andrew, Warren, Jason Gates, Tawanda, and the whole team behind the scenes, we'll see you in the number one box.